Welcome back to the Author's Corner podcast, where we give you the tools, tips, and the encouragement you need to share your story with the world. I am your host, Tiffany Dillard, the editor in chief of New Voice Books. I'm also your favorite writing and book publishing coach. I am passionate about helping authors, especially Christian nonfiction writers, get their message out to the world, get their message out that's going to change lives. So today we're going to dive into one of the most important topics for any author, no matter what genre that you're writing, creating your reader persona. If you've ever struggled with knowing who your readers are, who your target audience is, or if you felt like you are shouted into a crowded room and no one's listening, this episode is for you, okay? So go get your pen, your notepad, your favorite drink, your favorite snack, and come back. Join me for an amazing conversation. Go get what you need and come on back. All right, so you got everything that you needed so you can take notes because this topic is very important. I have a lot of writers that come to me and the first question I ask them is, who is your, book for? Who are you writing to? And some people may say, "Oh, I'm writing to everyone." You're not. You're not. You're not writing to everyone. Everyone will not pick up your book. There are some New York Times bestsellers, books that is not on everybody's shelf. It's not in everybody's Kindle, not in everybody's Audible library. So your book is not going to be for everybody. Everybody's not going to read your book. So let's get that thought out of our head. Let's kind of throw it so far away that it can't even be dropped back into your mind as a thought, because your book has to speak to your target audience. And that's why creating a reader persona is very, 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 very important. Okay. So let's talk about why a reader persona matters. A lot of writers make this mistake. They write a book for everyone. I just said that. No, that is not true. Sounds noble, right? You're like, yes, my book is out here and it's for everybody who needs it. I am trying to share my story with the world, and you are, but you're going to share your story with a certain group of people within that world, and you're going to change their lives, and then it's just going to be a ripple effect. But here's the problem: when you write for everyone, you connect with no one. If you're writing for this big audience, for this big group of people, you have no connection with your audience. No connection. Everybody just, everybody coming to get in your book, everybody's reading it. And yeah, that sounds good because you're like, well, hey, if everybody get my book, that's sales. Yeah, that is sales. But are they connecting with you to the point that when you come out with something else, then they're going to go and get that book as well? Or if you have an event, they're going to show up. Or if you do a live or a Q&A or um a reading segment or show, whatever you do, are they going to connect with you? If you put out a t-shirt or something, are they going to be so connected to you as an author that they support you in all things? Because if we're honest, everybody doesn't shop at the same stores. You have some people that shop at Target that don't shop at Walmart. Some people that shop at Walmart that don't shop at Kroger's. Everybody does not shop or buy from the same places. So therefore, everybody's not going to read your book. Okay. That's where a reader persona comes in. Like, a reader persona comes in to help you tailor down to your target audience. A reader persona is simply a detailed description of your ideal reader, the person you imagine sitting across the table from while you're writing. So when you know this person, three things: your message becomes sharper, your marketing becomes easier, and your books find the right audience faster. So if you're one that's been thinking like, well, if I put this book out, who's going to buy it? You already know if you create your reader persona. You'll already have that reader in mind. You'll already see your audience in front of you as you're writing your book. So when you do get on that stage to do a speaking engagement that includes your book, you already know who's going to be in the crowd. You already know who's going to show up. You can guarantee ticket sales because you already know who your ideal reader is. And then when you're marketing to them, you already know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, to who, and what tone, because you know who your ideal reader is. Think of it like this. If you were baking a cake, you would want to know if your guests were allergic to nuts before you made it. That's the same true for writing a book. You need to know your readers' needs. You need to know their challenges, preferences before you start serving them content. You need to know all of the things about the people that are going to going to read your book. You need to know about these people. Because if you don't know about the people that you are writing for, you're really, like you said, message is not going to be clear. It's not going to be sharp because it's going to be all over the place because you don't know who you're writing to. You don't have that person in mind. So your story is all over the place. And you may be including things in your book that don't need to be in here. So the first thing is you cannot skip this step, people. You cannot skip this step. So you need to create a reader persona. You do. And you may say, well, give me an example of your own. Okay, my reader persona was for women who have dealt with domestic violence or who was in domestic violence, because my book, The Reflection of Me, is about domestic violence. Women between the ages of 25 to 50. And if it rolled over past 50, that's fine. My book was also reaching out to those people who may know a family member or a friend that is dealing with or has dealt with domestic violence, and they're wanting to understand why that person stayed. My conversation tailored to them as well too, because I wanted them to get an understanding of the mindset of the person who's in that traumatic situation. And my book reached those people. It reached, and it even reached people that had no clue that their relationship was that they were in a domestic violence relationship, because they only assumed domestic violence was physical. They didn't know that domestic violence also was mental and emotional and verbal. So those are three types of people that I target my story to, who was drawn to my book. And then of course you have your stragglers, but those were three people that I knew would pick up my book and read it. And the third one, I really picked that up as people were reading my book and I was getting feedback from people. And I was like, oh, and when I got the feedback, I started to shift and kind of update my reader persona, because now I have people out here that didn't even know, didn't even recognize, didn't even understand that they were in, that they are in, or that they were in a domestic violence relationship. And that helped them. That helped them. Because then it answered the question of, that's why I feel the way that I've been feeling. That's why I've been dealing with people in this way. Because there was an underlying traumatic experience. There was a wound that was open and they just couldn't recognize where it came from. Where did this pain come from? And they could tie it all together. Okay? So that's my example. So, all right, so let's talk about what actually goes into a reader persona. I like to keep it simple, so I got 5 key elements for you, okay? One is demographics, which is their age, their gender, location, occupation, education level. This gives you a quick snapshot of who they are, okay? So the second one is pain points. What problems or challenges are they facing that your book can help save? or that your book can help solve. So, how can your book help them with their challenges and their problems that they're facing? The next point is goals and aspirations. What do they hope to achieve, change, or experience when they read your book? Or what are their achievements? What is something they want to change or experience in their life, period? But you're going to still always think about, but how can my book help them to achieve change and experience? Okay. And then next is their reading habits. Do they prefer print books? Do they prefer ebooks, audiobooks? What other authors do they read? Are they a person who only reads nonfiction? Do they read fiction? What other do they read educational, books that are kind of educating them? Like, what books do they read besides your genre? And then lastly, connection points. Where do they hang out? Are they on Instagram? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they attending church conferences? Like, find out where your people are, because that right there will help you with marketing. And even if you're like, well, church conferences, you can check out some church conferences in your area and see if they offer vending opportunities. And you can, you know what I'm saying, like, show up with your book. Even if and maybe kind of see if there are looking for speakers around your topic, and then you can talk about your book in front of their audience. So it's plenty of ways to do it. So once you got these written down, your ideal reader starts to come alive. They go from being a vague idea to an actual person you can picture. So when you have them in your mind, you can see them, then it will help you better when it comes to writing. So next we're going to talk about how to gather this information. Now, you might be wondering, like, okay, Tiffany, but how do I find all this information? Like, where do I get all this information from? How do I get the people to tell me their business? Because we try to be so secretive. So here's a few ways that you can do that. So you can survey your audience, and you can create a simple Google form and share it on your social media platforms that you're on, or your email list. Make sure that you have an email list, people. Don't be trying to get just out here talking to people and do not get people's contact information. So if you need to just, create one of those little digital business cards that capture people's information, do that. Or anything that you put out to survey, allow it to capture the people's emails so you can build up an email list. Okay. So when stuff goes out, you already got your email list started. You can send it out to those people. Join reader communities. So Facebook groups, book clubs, and forums are great for seeing I'm gonna get this out. It's great for seeing what people are asking and discussing. So get into those areas. You don't have to be the one that's just everybody know you're in there. You can just join these groups and just watch and listen. One thing, and it's not more of like a reader persona. This is more like, okay, me understanding who my clients were. So when I began to build New Voice Books, I went into different spaces where writers were. And I started to just look at the comments. I was listening to what the person was saying, but I paid attention to the comments. And these were people that were just fresh writing books and getting their manuscripts ready to go. And they were trying to figure out what was the next steps. And a lot of questions were, well, how can I publish this book? Who can do my cover? Formatting questions. They were developmental editing questions, copy editing questions. Well, how do I get my ISBN? What about registering my book with the Library of Congress? Like, they had all of these questions. And a lot of times in the comments, people, individuals will comment and say, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. But they had to go all over the place to get stuff done. And that was like a light bulb that went off for me. And it was like, God was like, create New Voice Books and put everything all inclusive. So when they come to you, they don't have to go to this person for illustration, this person for the book cover. They don't have to do this for the ISBN number, this person to help them register their manuscript with the Library of Congress. They don't have to go over here for the editing services. No, everything is all bundled in one package. And that is how New Voice Books was born. So we provide VIP all exclusive packaging. But the only way that I knew to do that was getting in the comments in these readers community, book clubs, like going where the authors were, going where the people that were writing books were, so that I can see what questions they're asking. And then I could see the need. I could see their problem. And then I created, me and God, we created the company to solve their problem. And I have a lot of people saying, well, hey, well, I need my book edited. We can do that. Well, can you just format it? We can do that. And even with, well, what I do by the time I get to the end and I'm trying to get my book published and get it put out there, our packages offer marketing coaching along the way. So they don't have to go all over the place. And that's the same idea when it comes to your reader persona. You want to get into those communities, into those groups, into those book clubs, so that you can hear, you can listen, you can get to know the people in those groups and what they're asking and what they're discussing. What topics are there? Like, oh, that would be a good book. This would be a good book. And of course, yes, you want to go and survey those groups, those clubs, those communities, but you want to take that stuff back to God. I always tell y'all, pray. Do not do anything without praying and seeking God's face and asking him for direction. Bring all of your research to his feet and then allow him to tell you which way to go. Okay? So next thing, you want to talk to people. If your book is faith-based, chat with people in your church, ministry, or community. You're not introverts, you're not going to be able to stay introvert. You're going to have conversation with people, okay? Those that have social anxiety, you're going to have to break that and come out of agreement with it. You're going to have to start talking to people. How are people going to get to know you and you get to know them if you sitting in a corner somewhere waiting for somebody to stand in front of you and start just talking about everything? No, you're going to have to get into the crowd, network with people so they'll get to know you. Okay, you're going to have to talk to your people. You're going to have to talk to your people. And you may say, well, Tim, I don't be liking people like that. Well, you're going to have to start liking them. You're going to have to start liking them. And then if you're praying and you're doing this with God, then God is going to lead you and guide you anyways to the right place. So you ain't really got to be worried about wasting your time on people that you don't really need to talk to, because they're all going to be right where you need them to be. And then look at book reviews, especially for books similar to yours. People often reveal their needs and preferences in reviews. So don't shy away from reviews. And then don't shy away from asking people to give you reviews on your book as well. That's just a side note. Ask people for reviews, ask people for feedback, because that can help you as a writer, to understand more and more of your reader and what they're looking for and what they're wanting to read and what they're wanting to learn, what they're wanting to create, what they need help on. Like, get the reviews, get the feedback, take it as constructive criticism, so that way you'll know how to tailor your book. No, this is not calling you to be a people pleaser or a performer, but it is calling you to have a better understanding of how to do things well and better We all have room for improvement, okay? So that's what this is for. The more real voices you gather, the more accurate your reader persona will be. So don't be afraid to communicate. Don't be afraid to get in groups. Don't be afraid to get reviews. Do what you need to do your research and your homework to understand who your audience and who your reader is, okay? Now, we're going to get to putting your reader persona to work. So once you've created your reader persona, it's not just a document that sits in your folder. We're not going to do that. Use it. It becomes your compass. Every time you write, you ask, would she read this? Would he share this? Would this help solve their problem? I'm gonna say those questions one more time. You want to ask yourself, would she read this? Would he share this? And would this help solve their problem? Those are key questions that you need to ask yourself every time you write. When it comes to marketing, your ads, your captions, your podcast interviews, speak directly to that one person. So that way you're not all over the place. And then if you do use like the AI tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools, you know exactly the wording that you need to put into those tools to ask it to create something for you to promote to that audience. So then when they read your post, they know exactly who you're talking to. You talking to them. You talking to them. They know who. Like they're literally like, who, me? Oh, me? Yes. I'm talking to you in my post. So, and here's the beautiful part. When you write for one, you'll end up resonating with many. Because there'll be so many other people that'll say, you know what? Your book spoke to me. Like I said earlier, I was writing for two different types of people. One person to help them understand the mind of a person that's in domestic violence, and I was appealing to the person who has either been in a domestic violence relationship or who is in a domestic violence relationship. But those two people were the two main people that I was writing to. But then a third person came in and said, you know what? I didn't even realize that I was dealing with domestic violence. I didn't even realize I was being abused because they wasn't hitting me. They weren't putting their hands on me. So that third person came in. And now I have three different types of people that I'm writing to under one topic. So I resonated with the one, which is the person who has either dealt with or is dealing with domestic violence. And then I picked up many who could resonate with my story that may or may not have even dealt with domestic violence, but it gave them insight on what was going on, and it had caused them to take inventory back into their relationships, past or present. So y'all know I always give y'all some homework. I'm always challenging y'all. You know I'm always trying to push y'all. You know I ain't trying to push y'all. I am pushing y'all. I'm pushing y'all. I'm pushing you because you need to get done what you need to do. You know, period. Yeah. Period with the T at the end. Period. Okay. So here's your Author's Corner challenge for this week. I want you to take 30 minutes and start building your reader persona. Give them a name, write down their story, and keep them in front of you every time you write or market your book. If you want a head start, I have created a reader persona template that you can download. So I'm in the process of working on that form so that way you can have it. And then I will drop the link to that form in the show notes so that way you can have that form. You can use that. It'll walk you through every step. You will find the link again in the show notes. So that way you can upload it, keep it, and then give me feedback. If it's something on there you're like, Tiffany, can you add this to it? let me know and I'll add it to the form, so that way you can have a complete form if you need something extra when it comes to your reader persona. I want to help you as much as I can. Now, I want you to do this. I don't want you to be listening to me and like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. No, I need you to do it. I need you to execute. I need you to complete. So if you're one that's been struggling with completing stuff, I need you to complete stuff. Do you know that's breakthrough for you? When you are having a problem with completing stuff, and when you complete a task, that's breakthrough. That's deliverance. That's healing. Everything ain't always got to be traumatic for you to elevate in your life. So for a person who has problems with completing stuff, I need you to complete the task and watch what God do. And watch the change that comes in your life. Watch the freedom that you feel from breaking that bondage of not completing things. And then watch your eyes open to see all the other things that you have started and didn't complete. And then you get all of this strategy and this download from God on how to get everything done. And one of the things that you're going to complete is your reader persona, so that you can know who you're writing to and you can know who you're marketing to. You can know even the person that you will speak to at your speaking engagements. Because I told you, we're not just going to be writing books, we're going to be speaking on people's stages, or we're going to be speaking on our own stages. You hear me? Okay. We're going to be having our own platform. So let's not allow this challenge to be like, oh, this is too much. No, it's not. I've already completed the form for you. I've already given you a head start. All you got to do is click on the link in the show notes, get the form, and start filling it out and completing it and getting it done. Okay? So, remember, your words are powerful, but they're even more powerful when they reach the right person, when they reach the right audience, when they reach the right community, club, organization. Because if you are writing to everyone, you are writing to no one. Okay? You're writing to no one. So make sure that you click that link in the show notes. Now, if you are one that is ready to publish your book or you need coaching on your book, head on over to our website, nvpublishingco.com. You will find a lot of information over there pertaining to the book publishing services that we offer, and also the one-on-one coaching that I am offering right now. I am open to taking clients. We will have a 1-hour session with each other, and you can ask me all the questions. We can go over your manuscript, whatever you need. I am there for you for that hour. And then, of course, we have a Kingdom Shop. Go over to the Kingdom Shop. We have journals over there. We have t-shirts over there. We have the latest books that have been published, like the Marriage Conversation with God. That's my latest book, and that is targeted to married people, engaged people, single people, so we can really understand what marriage is and why it's important to God, so that we're not out here just trying to do marriage on our own, but we're going to do marriage with God. And so that book is available in the Kingdom Shop now. So head on over there again to nvpublishingco.com, and then you can learn more about New Voice Books. Check out the receipts for the authors that have been published through New Voice Books. So that way you're not just hearing me talk about New Voice Books, but you don't really know about what's going on. So just going on over to the website. Everything is there. Okay. So until next time, keep writing, keep sharing, and keep changing lives one reader at a time. Love you guys. Be blessed.